Hey everybody, David here, and today I want to talk about a real world problem that the world is facing right now, specifically in the U.S. They're really dealing with it right now. I think more countries need to be dealing with situations like this, and the topic of today is racism. For those of you that don't know, it's been a week since George Floyd was murdered by a police officer who put his knee on his neck, and he begged, that he couldn't breathe. And there was probably a little bit more that happened after that as well, because I saw some more video, very disturbing. All of it was disturbing, but more disturbing footage came out from a different angle of them putting him in a car, and possibly more happened. And look, the world right now is very upset, and I think a lot of the world has been upset for quite a long time. Racism is something that has never left us, and it's been a real big topic of debate for the last week, and deservingly so. I live in Canada, and Canada has been having protests about racism. Here in Toronto, there was a young girl that was pushed out of her apartment building, and police were there. And even though there was no footage to prove it, her family claims that the police were involved in some way or another. So there was a protest yesterday in Toronto for that happening. There are protests going on in Vancouver as well as Montreal, which Montreal is the first Canadian city, as far as I know, to have a violent protest happen. Similar to what's going on in the States, where in the States it's happening almost all over. And it is really scary to see this happen to one of the biggest countries in the world. And of course, we must blame the man in charge, the man who should be calming things down. And he's not. The U.S. does not have a leader who can unify everybody and give words that comfort people. Instead, he gives words that poke at people and make them upset, more upset than they already are. And that's not what the world needs. The world needs healing. People are grieving, people are hurting, people are angry, and there's some people also taking advantage of the situation that's going on out there. I hope we can all overcome what's going on. As a white man, I understand how privileged I have it compared to most. I don't really look at people differently. I look at us all equally, but I'm maybe a rare example of how we should be looking at each other. I feel that I never understood, because I've never seen racism happen in front of me. I've heard racism, and I've had arguments with people who have talked down at certain minorities. I don't think these people that I've had confrontations with, they don't sound like the violent type, but they do sound like they do favor others, certain minorities over others. And that makes me upset. And so I can understand the frustration that a lot of people are having right now. But I'm not going to tell people what to do, because I think the way people are reacting right now, the people that are peacefully protesting, I'm happy to see that. I'm happy to see that cooler heads are prevailing. But I do see angry people out there too. And maybe, I'm not going to say all of them, but there definitely are some that are very upset with the police and maybe throwing some things at them. And I'm not going to say it's wrong because that's their right. They have the right to be upset. The ones that are causing the most problems though are the looters, and everybody knows what Trump said about them. Uh, when the looting starts, the shooting starts. That provokes people, and that does not help saying something like that. Um, but it is wrong. Just because other people are trying to make a point out of this situation, out of a long series of years of this situation that has happened. This is just one out of many things that has happened, and people are angry, and there's people going there and taking advantage of this anger and using it for something else by destroying property, by looting, by stealing, and that's not helping the situation. Now, that's not to say the police are all innocent either. Now, I want to say something about the police. I know that not every police officer is racist. There are good police officers out there too. I've seen video of police officers kneeling down with the protesters, supporting them, hugging them, all that. But there are some, and you know what? The problem with a racist is that you don't know if they're racist until they show their true colors. Of course, with a lot of people around, they're going to probably be a little bit more careful. So I guarantee you there are terrible police officers in all these situations. It also depends on the province and the state that you probably live in. There are probably some worse, with more corrupted officials than others. I don't know. I don't want to say I don't want to say for sure, but I just want people to be safe, and I hope we get through this. I hope good prevails over evil. That might sound cheesy for a lot of people, but that's how I talk. I can be pretty cheesy, I guess, sometimes. I guess that's all I have to say on the matter. I hope that everybody can find their way of getting back and finding a better way for the future. Because I get it. I get why you're fighting and why you need to make this cause, and I support this cause because we do need to be a better society in the future. We don't want this to be something that, oh, we're forgetting about it now, and then a couple months later it happens again. We don't want this to happen again. We want this to finally be settled, and you got to make your voices loud and clear. And as many people are saying, if you don't like what's going on, go and vote. And, as a Canadian, I am happy with the way Justin Trudeau is handling things. He came out today and acknowledged the racism going on in not just the U.S., but in Canada as well. And he acknowledged his own past, because if you remember this past election, there were photos that came out of him wearing blackface, which he has apologized. Again today, he apologized for it. He brought it up. I didn't think he would, but he did bring it up and apologized once again for it. And we all got to learn from mistakes of the past. And even if you never did anything racist, learn from somebody who has. Learn from the history that has come before us. Learn from that, because that's the mistakes that people make time and time again. We keep making mistakes, even though it's in our history, that we keep doing it and we never change it. And I hope the people of the States who are protesting peacefully, I hope they succeed at this. I want to see them succeed at this. I want to see the world succeed at this, because we need to get rid of it. And with that being said, guys, look, I'm done talking about this. I was a little nervous about it because I'm hoping that I don't say something stupid. I hope my thoughts were clear, and I hope I got it all right. And with that being said, comment below and leave down your thoughts, guys. Don't be on my channel. We are all accepted and we are all loved equally. So, with that being said, until next time, everybody, take care.